Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Andrez Martina, the man that bludgeoned his 12-year-old grandson, Andrez Smith. He's being charged with first-degree intentional homicide,
the boy's skull was severely fractured,
physical abuse of a child,
consistent with multiple blunt force blows to the head,
repeated acts causing death.
Keep him away from my kids. And 23 days later, he beat my child to death.
Neglecting a child.
12-year-old Andrez Smith, beaten to death with a sledgehammer Sunday morning in Milwaukee.
Physical abuse of a child.
The boy's grandfather, Andrez Martina, seen here, beat the boy for an hour to an hour and a half inside a home at 46th and Hampton after accusing the boy of stealing money.
Repeated acts with high probability of great bodily harm.
Andre's 8-year-old brother witnessed the attack and told police he saw his grandfather hit Andre in the head with a mallet, a sledgehammer, and a coat rack, as well as a cane.
In possession of a firearm by a felon.
Andrez Martina pled guilty to second-degree reckless homicide in 1989.
I'm Walls P. This is Matter of Opinion. Let's definitely talk about this one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this video, definitely like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to show support to the channel, definitely become a member. And if you want to see that raw, uncut content, click the link in the description to join that Locals, where we have our raw, uncut, unfiltered content. And you definitely want to check my unfiltered thoughts on this video. There's a man that bludgeoned his 12-year-old grandson with everything under the sun for about 90 minutes. Now, the way the story unfolds, the grandmother of the children, Aisha McCoy, who's the legal guardian, she has full custody of Andrez Smith and his little brother, who is 8 years old. Now, according to Aisha, she has no relations with Andrez Martina. Now, Andrez Martina, back in 1989, was found guilty on a homicide charge and was incarcerated. Fast forward to now, he wanted to get acquainted with his grandchildren. So, on August 28th, he asked Aisha, can the boy spend the night at his house so that they can get school supplies in the morning, and plus he want to get well acquainted with his grandkids. Okay, she allows this to happen. She said the boys were in perfectly fine condition when they left to go to his house. Now, at 8:24 a.m. the next day, Andrez Martina sent Aisha a message accusing the boys of stealing money out of his wallet. She then asked them, where are the boys? And his response was, he's bleeding. This is exactly how the police report described the scene. I'm letting you know right now, it's very graphic. On August 29th, 2021, Nia's mother, Aisha McCoy, woke up Nia and Anthony. Aisha was frantic, telling Nia that Nia needs to go to get ARS and ATS immediately. Now, ARS is Andrez Smith and ATS is his younger brother, and his name is not mentioned in the report. Anthony and Nia drove to the defendant's residence. Now, just for clarity so nobody gets lost, Nia is Aisha's daughter and Nia lives with Aisha, and Anthony is Nia's boyfriend. So I hope you got all that. Upon arriving at the above address, Nia knocked on the door. ATS opened the door and immediately ran out to the car. Nia walked into the house looking for ARS. Anthony Anderson observed the defendant come to the front door, followed by Nia yelling, "Oh my God, you are going to jail for this." Nia ran to the car and instructed Anthony to go inside the residence. As Anthony walked inside, he observed the defendant dragging ARS's body from the bathroom into the kitchen. There was a large amount of blood and what appeared to be brain matter on the kitchen floor and walls. The defendant's entire body was covered in blood. ARS appeared unconscious. ARS' head looked ripped open with the skull exposed. Anthony took his shirt off and wrapped it around ARS' head. Anthony carried ARS out to his car and then rushed ARS to St. Joseph's Hospital. Once at St. Joseph's Hospital, ARS submitted to the emergency department, stabilized, and then transferred to Children's Hospital of Wisconsin due to the severity of ARS's condition. ATS was also admitted to St. Joseph's Hospital. Sometime during the morning hours of August 29, 2021, Cassandra was awakened by the defendant yelling at ARS. Cassandra looked up and saw the defendant striking ARS with a hammer all over ARS's body, including the head and back. The defendant put the hammer down and used Cassandra's wood cane to strike ARS repeatedly. ARS fled the room and went into the kitchen. The defendant followed ARS into the kitchen and continued to repeatedly strike ARS. Though Cassandra could not see past the living room into the other rooms of the residence, Cassandra could hear the defendant continuing to beat ARS. Cassandra believed the defendant beat ARS for an hour to an hour and a half. It should be noted that the grandmother is disabled, making it difficult for her to intervene. Now, here's my thing. After 90 minutes of a child being abused and pretty much being beaten to death, death. Nobody heard anything. Nobody else could have called 911. When I checked the news reporting on this, it said that the neighbors heard screaming and stuff like that. So none of the neighbors cared to look out the window. None of them cared to call 911 saying they hear something outside. And it's also reported that the boy ran outside to try and get away, and the man literally chased after him and dragged him back into the house. So I'm pretty sure somebody could have heard something, somebody could have saw something and alerted the authorities before it got to that 90-minute mark. And I can't put no blame on the great-grandmother, Cassandra, because she's incapacitated, as the reports say. But there was also his cousins and everything living in that household, so one of them could have called 911. Any one of them could have took the initiative to dial 911, but they didn't. And also in the report, Andrez literally said to the investigator that he was going to kill the boy. The boy tried to run, get away, lock himself in the bathroom. He picked the lock and pushed him so hard that his head went through the wall. So just put yourself in the mind of that 12-year-old boy. To see your fate coming, your life being sucked out of you little by little, as this man who you cannot fight off, a grown man at that, is just constantly beating you, slowly and surely sucking the life away from you with blunt force to the head with anything that the man can get his hands on. This was definitely a terrifying situation for that boy, and that was definitely a painful way for that little boy to get murdered. Now, for the mother, I feel sorry for this woman to experience that, and just think about the mental damage that has been done to that 8-year-old boy. He also was in the line of fire and was injured in result. So I'm assuming that the boy tried to break it up or do the best he can to try and save his brother, because it's only right. If your brother's being abused to the point it looked like the man is trying to kill him, you're gonna try and intervene. Now, granted, of course, he's not strong enough to actually do anything, but think about what this little boy had to go through who witnessed all of this. If a person is beating a child, at some point, you know enough is enough. But for you to open wounds, I'm talking gash after gash, you can see the skull showing. That is a person who has serious issues to go to those lengths and measures. And I gotta ask this, why would the grandmother even let the child spend the night over there? If this grandmother did not have any relations with this man, and you know he's fresh out of the pen, why would you allow them to go spend the night at this man's house? That makes absolutely no sense to me. He said to the boys at one point, if you lie, if you misbehave in school, if you steal, I'll kill you. Those were his exact words. And if he threatened these boys before, I'm pretty sure at some point these boys told their grandmother what this man has said to them. So these are experiences that a 12-year-old boy are going to tell another adult that they experienced. And if they didn't, even if this grandfather told them, don't say anything to anybody, when that boy goes home, him or his brother are gonna have a different type of attitude, or they're gonna act different. And it's gonna make that parent ask, what happened when you was over there? You're acting different. You would be able to see that something happened to this child. Do I pass some blame on her? Absolutely. Because these are signs that you should have saw. These are things that I'm pretty sure that the boy had said to you. And if not him, probably the 8-year-old brother. And again, why would you leave these children to spend the night with a dude who you've had no relations to? I understand, oh, they want to get to know their grandfather or whatever the case may be, but that doesn't warrant letting these kids stay the night. I mean, this is a very sad, sad story. I would wish this on no parent to experience or witness this. I definitely keep this woman in my prayers. I'm sorry for your loss. No parent wants to experience their child leaving before they do. So for him to get slaughtered in such a brutal and demonic fashion, there's no words that can express how this woman feels. Personally, this guy needs to spend the rest of his life in jail. Everybody that's involved, I know there's absolutely nothing I can say that can make you come to terms with what happened. I hope that somehow everybody can heal from such a traumatic experience, because I know everybody involved is going to need therapy to actually come to terms. And I won't even say come to terms, to hopefully move past such a traumatic situation. But I hope they find a way to heal or mend that wounded heart for what they experience. That's gonna do it for this episode of Matter of Opinion. I'm Walls P, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.